Great.
Yes. Yep.
We just spent the day making so many videos, and so we're like,
I got you. Completely understood. Nope. Just a conversation, and it'll be pretty chill.
lovely.
We love a chill time.
We love a chill time.
So how are things in Massachusetts?
Things are
Bright and sunny right now.
things are nice.
It's
Yeah.
pretty hot today, which is
My sound engineer is actually from Worcester, so
Oh,
he's been trying to get me to go up that way. So he wants to make it a trip so he can go see his family, but he also wants to go up that way to do live and amplified stuff. So
yeah.
But-
I mean, beautiful here right now. Fall time is the best time.
nice. I just sent the link through to the band page.
Awesome.
great.
Great.
We'll post it.
Okay. Let me do this really quick. Boom, 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 boom.
Are we
So
live
like
right
Facebook?
now on YouTube?
Yeah, we are live right now, so don't say anything.
Okay,
Oh.
Sorry, it's yeah.
YouTube.
Hello.
YouTube.
I was on because I had supposed to have a podcast this morning, but the band never showed up, and so I was sitting there on accidentally put myself live on YouTube, and I'm looking like a weirdo, and nobody's showing up, and I'm like, all right.
Great.
Hello, YouTube.
Yeah.
That's so funny.
Let me throw it on our Facebook page, and we'll be good to go.
All right. I'm gonna add it to our link tree so that the people know.
People of the world.
Do, do, do.
Yeah, normally we do this on Facebook, but we are currently in Facebook jail.
Oh,
You said that?
No.
How did that happen?
I'm from what I can gather, I got a little spammy with one of our posts.
You know, it happens to the best of us.
Yeah. I guess we're not.
Travis. TT, this is your moment to be a star.
Travis.
She's like, where's my house? I
You
can't
can
hear
follow
you.
my dog on Instagram, Travis the Cockapoo.
Hey, Travis.
Travis, come make an appearance.
Come here, little.
Hi.
Yes,
come here.
Yes. Oh,
Yeah.
no.
Great.
Yes.
Fabulous.
Can you post it to Facebook though? Maybe more people will see.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
Doing all of the social.
All right. And then, so once we get started, I will do an intro. I'll introduce the band, and then I'll kind of give you an opportunity to introduce yourselves individually. And then we'll talk about how the band came together, you know, what got you all started in music, you know, all the traditional stuff. And then we'll start talking about your new album and stuff leading forward from there. And we'll just kind of see where the conversation goes.
Perfect.
All right.
I know. Thank God. We have merged COVID bubbles, so
Nice.
Single. Appreciate you.
All right. I'm good on my end if y'all.
Yeah, we're good.
All right, cool. All right. Welcome, everybody, to another live and amplified livecast. I'm your host, Tom Quiet, and we're back at it again with another amazing podcast. Today, we have a very special guest. We have Ruby Mack. How's it going today, guys?
great.
Going great.
Going well.
Nice. So first off, I want to thank you all so much for joining the podcast, giving us time to sit down and chat. I know we were supposed to do this on Monday, but I got stuck driving and I just wasn't going to be able to make it back in time. So thankfully, y'all were flexible enough and able to make this work for today. So I'm really excited to sit down and chat with you and get to know more about you. So for that, I thank you. Well, let's kind of start off for the people that aren't that familiar with Ruby Mack. What's the origin story? What brought you all together? Actually, first of all, let's have you guys introduce yourselves individually so people have names to faces, faces to names.
Sounds good.
Cool. I'm Zoe, and I play the guitar and sing as well.
I'm Emma Ayers, and I play the guitar and I sing.
I'm Abs, and I play fiddle and sing.
I'm Abby Duquette, and I play bass and sing. We all sing.
And in case y'all missed it, down below we have a very adorable puppy who's currently having her own Shark Week experience.
She also sings.
She also
She also is very good
she's
Awesome.
our manager.
at it.
Oh, so how did y'all come together? How did Ruby Mack come together? What's the story behind that?
You
wanna
go.
take it away?
Okay, well, I'll take it away. I was the last person joined, so that makes sense. I'll take it away. So Zoe and Emma here knew each other from childhood. They were basically raised as sisters. Their moms are best friends, and yeah, can you tell they look exactly alike? And so they've been singing together forever, and they both went to UMass and continued playing there. They met Abs.
UMass is University of Massachusetts, Amherst.
Yes.
Woo! Shout out
Shout
to
out.
alma mater.
And they went to Gray Fox and were, jamming together.
Which is a bluegrass music festival for those who aren't familiar with it.
And they were playing together, and someone came up to them and were like, "Oh, are you guys a band? What band are you?" And they were like, "No, but great idea." So thus started the band. And then a little while later, I came along and was like, "Hey guys, I play bass." And then
That was it. That's all
and that
she
was
said.
it. and now we're there.
Nice. And then how'd you come up with the name Ruby Mack? What's the story behind that?
So I used to work at an apple orchard, and I'm a good old New England gal, I've sorted many apples in my day, and there's a romanticism to sort of the naming of apples that I just sort of like would be spending my days like literally sorting apples and learning new names. And the name Ruby Mack is for a tart sweet variety of Macintosh apple. And that name just like really struck me and resonated with me. And we were initially playing underneath my name, Emma June Band, but we changed the name to Ruby Mack. And I brought the name to the band, and they were like, everyone just felt sort of a unified vibration around it. And there's like a power and a sensitivity in that name that really speaks to, I think, the feel of this group as a whole. So tart sweet Ruby Mack.
Awesome. That story is a lot better than what I thought the name came from.
Oh, what'd you think?
We're
Tell
so
us.
fascinated.
Okay, so did you guys watch Even Stevens back in the day?
Yes.
So the episode where Lewis goes to the BB Mack recording concert, Ruby starts calling herself Ruby Mack at one point, and that's what I
No
thought.
way! I do not remember that, but that is
Yeah.
so funny.
That should be our story.
Yeah,
That's hilarious.
we just
We
love.
just rebranded.
We are huge Ian Stevens fans.
I love
That is
I've
really
never
funny.
watched it.
Emma,
Apple sorted for life.
Emma never like had a TV, so she doesn't really know like references to things.
Other than sick apple varieties like Ruby Mack.
Yeah.
Thank God.
Thank God.
I like your story better. I like the Apple story better. It makes a lot more sense. Whereas I was just sitting here, I was like, what could the story be? What if it's something random like this? And then I was just like, yeah, so awesome. And then let's kind of get to know each of you individually a little bit better. And I guess we'll start with you, Abby. What got you into music originally? Like what's your origin story into music?
Probably church.
Okay.
I'm gonna be that person. Church choir. That's how I got into music. But one of my favorite stories is actually my brother like heard me singing. He is an incredible guitar player, and he was like, maybe that's not for you. And I was like, and I was like, stupid brother, you don't know anything. And so I continued to do musical theater, and then I fell in love with music theory, said no one ever. And I thought I was gonna be
like what?
like a conductor. And then I was like, no, just normal folk music. Yeah, I went to Smith College in Western Mass, and there's a vibrant folk scene here. And I kind of fell in love with this tradition and was like, yes, that is where I want to put all of my energy. So that's kind of how I got into it. That's a bad story.
Awesome. we'll kind of continue around the little semicircle you guys got going on there.
Yeah, sounds good. So I'm Abs again, and I got into music when I was very young. My parents, shout out to my mom and dad, brought me to a musical petting zoo, which
What?
apparently is a thing in Boston.
I've never heard of it.
Yeah, at Symphony Hall, and there was a violin, and 3-year-old me was like, I must play the violin. So my dad made me a fake like cardboard fiddle, and I apparently got a little attitude about it and was like, no, I want to play the real fiddle. So I started taking lessons, and the rest is
History.
yep.
I have to say, when you said musical petting zoo, I imagined like a duck playing a horn. Like I was like, what?
Yeah,
I've never heard of this.
Yeah, like you can just
like
kind
a
of go up and
giraffe
see the different instruments,
jamming.
and if they're chill,
That makes
maybe they
sense.
let you pluck a string. I don't know.
That makes sense.
But yeah, that's the story.
I definitely met animals as well.
yeah.
Zoo.
A musical petting zoo.
I guess my story has like two parts to it. One is when I was younger, I was obsessed with musical theater, and I think like just having like a narrative or a story take the shape of a song was really powerful to me. And so I used to like line up my stuffed animals on my bed, and I had this like really janky old tape recorder, and I would like pretend I was on Broadway, like holding mock auditions for myself, and my animals were judging me. And then I'd listen back and be like, no, you don't get cast in Fiddler on the Roof. I'm sorry, you just didn't make it. And I'd be like, I have to get better. I have to do better. This is not good enough.
It's gonna be a
And-
dog.
And so that's like one facet of the obsession. And then the second facet was, I think it really goes back to like the origins of like, I don't know how I was raised. I mean, I don't think like none of my family members are like overtly musical. In fact, my dad is like one note Jim. Like he's known for like just being really good at singing like one note. But I like my parents just brought a lot of music into the household, and we listened to a lot of like Rafi and a lot of like just we had our lives were so rich. Like as a young child, I was like literally singing Bob Dylan, and I think like just seeping in that sort of folk tradition and that sort of like that like became a part of my bones.
Yeah, and as children, Emma and I grew up going to each other's houses like every other weekend. And so our parents were into the classics, and they just like, from day one, they were like, this is good music and you're going to listen to it and you're going to like it. And so we were like, all right, I guess Bob Dylan it is. Like, I'm 7 and I don't really like it, but I guess it's my only option. But no, they introduced us to like a lot of great music. So for me too, it was that. And also my grandmother always tells the story, my mom's mom, she came up to visit us in Boston when I was a baby. And I was a screamer as a kid. Like I was the
It's
worst.
true.
I was literally the
attest to
worst. Everyone hated it. And my grandmother, one time, I would not stop screaming, and she was taking care of me. And she took me out in the stroller and strolled me around all over Boston. And there was a band, some band was playing like on the town common. And I was screaming and screaming. And then when I heard the music, I instantly stopped screaming and just like was fixated on the music, just obsessed with it. And then we stayed for like a really long time because my grandmother was like, finally, this child like stopped screaming. And then finally it like, you know, we had to go home, but they were still playing the music. And she starts wheeling me away. And then I start screaming again, except this time it like matched up to the pitch of the music.
Okay.
My grandmother was like, this child needs to be a singer. Like I bet, like she was like, this child's gonna be a singer. And so she always laughs about it. And she's like, I knew you were going to be a singer from when you were like screaming when you were 3. Like, it's so funny. So yeah,
So
it's
cute.
just been something that I've always done and like had to do, I guess.
Gotcha. Awesome. Nice eclectic bunch of stories and how everybody got into music. I really enjoy that. So how did you guys kind of decide to focus in on folk music? You mentioned that like that's a huge scene up in Massachusetts, or?
Yes. I mean, I feel like it's not like, it's almost not even a choice. It's like
Yeah.
what like naturally comes out.
It
Like,
shows
what
us kind
is
of.
what
Yeah.
resonates with my soul. I've always just completely gravitated towards folk, always.
I guess, I don't know, for me, like, I just love the sort of like historical lineage of folk being like a platform to like speak out and be like politically active and a vehicle for like social justice organizing, like the tool and power of a song, especially in the folk discipline, to me was always just so profoundly compelling. And so yeah, again, like I would say like it's just like what comes out. It's truly like authentically what we make. We're not trying to like fit a genre, like we just are that
Yeah,
genre.
I think that I very much lucked out coming to UMass Amherst and coming to Western Mass for college, because I had no idea that there is a big folk scene here. It's just what I've always loved, and I kind of just fell into that and was so lucky to have so many beautiful musicians in the area that I could jam with or play with, and that was huge for my college experience. It was really made it special.
Also folk, there's so many like harmonies and like organic sounds that I think we're all drawn to a lot. And I think a like main focus in a lot of our music is our harmonies, and that's something that really brings us together and like drives our sound. So I think that like there's often just beautiful harmonies in folk music that definitely we're drawn to.
And I feel like it's also like there's so much room for poetry and words. Like I think that like unlike maybe more of like a pop format where you're writing in a way that is a little bit more like kind of I don't know, like everyday or like controlled or like organized in a certain way. I'm not really describing this very well, but like you can literally sing like an epic poem. Like you could sing, like you could open up a book of poetry and sing a melody over it and you would be singing folk music. Like, and that for me, a song is like, again, a vehicle to like say something that I want to say. And words for me they have their own music to them. Like poetry is its own orchestration of music. And the way you arrange words is also like its own sound and its own sort of like, so I guess for me, like I love the folk format because I have a lot to say.
She's got a lot to say.
I got a lot to talk
words
about
up there.
Gotcha, guys. So you guys got a new album coming out next Friday? Math?
Yes,
Yeah.
less than a week.
Devil Told Me. What's kind of the story behind this? Is your debut album, correct?
It is.
What's the story behind this album?
You want to take that one?
Sure. Yeah, I can take it. So we, I think it really just came together pretty seamlessly, almost by accident, but the story with the album name is essentially, so obviously we're named Ruby Mack. And so the cover art is an apple, and a snake, and a lot of, there's kind of a theme or a thread that runs through some of our songs that is like this religious theme. And what I want to say, like the apple and the story of Adam and Eve was something that was kind of on our minds. And the reclaiming of that story. I think for us, the story and Eve's search for knowledge and Eve's curiosity isn't something to necessarily be ashamed of. I think we're all very curious people, and it's kind of like a little questioning of that story, and it just happened to kind of go with the apple, and we have the snake weaving through the apple and the album art, and just a different interpretation of that story.
Awesome. And how long's the album kind of been in the works? Is it a
really long time?
Okay.
It's a short answer.
Yeah.
Short
Long
answer.
answer is many of our songs Emma wrote and playing them as herself.
Mm-hmm.
And then when the three of us started playing together, we kind of took her songs and they kind of started morphing slowly into a 3-part band. And then we would play those songs out and they kind of had their own iteration, and Emma had already started playing them. So it was like the second step almost.
Mm-hmm.
And then we actually recorded those songs, some of them previously. And for a while, they've kind of just been changing over the years with the different arrangements that we've played in. And then for this album, so many of those songs are on this album. So they've kind of gone through a lot of metamorphosizing, is that a word, over the years. And this was how we felt like they were ready to be out there.
Mhm.
As well as we have one song on this album, it's called Breadwinner, and it's an a cappella 4-part harmony, kind of like a short, sweet hug, you might say, a squeeze. And that was, I feel like, the driving force behind us as a band and behind this album specifically.
Yeah, it was the first song that we had all 4 of us collaborated on.
Yeah, so we were really excited to push that on the album. So I guess I don't even remember what the original question was, but the album I think is really special because it's a lot of songs that we've done over time and that have really come to this one point, and then as well as new things that are happening.
Totally.
So
it's kind of a culmination of what we've done in the past and
where
a
we're
little
headed.
bit of where we're going.
Awesome. And then what kind of, because I'm always interested in the song selection process for albums. So what was that kind of like? How did you go through your catalog of music and decide, okay, this is going to make the album? Or
I mean, I think we have been playing sort of we've been immersing ourselves in a particular set list for a while.
Okay.
And so I don't think there was a lot of selection involved. I think the songs were all kicking and screaming and ready to be what they are. And so I think because we're a new band, maybe individually we might have our own archives of what we've written, but I think that we were ready to really focus on these songs. It was very evident that these songs were the songs that were going to be recorded, at least as an initial stepping stone for the band. So I wouldn't say that was really part of that process.
Okay.
There are a lot of when we perform live, there are other songs in our catalog, but these were the songs that felt fully us.
Okay.
Because there's a history of Emma performing solo and then the 3 of them, and then when we all came together, I felt like this was these songs are Ruby Mack.
Yeah.
Perfect. And was there any concern or hesitation about releasing your debut album during current situations?
I don't know what you're talking about.
What?
Wait, what?
What situation?
Current.
Yes and no. I feel like back with what Abs just said, of it's a little taste of where we're going. We're ready to move forward, and yes, the world is trying to stop everyone and calm down, and we have done that, but we also were we need to get this music out, and we didn't as a self-release debut album, we weren't thinking you know what, it would probably be better in the long run or better for strategically, blah blah. We were just it's time for these songs to be born. Their birthday needs to happen.
They're overdue.
And luckily we had recorded everything, and I think even the mixing and mastering were done prior. Is that correct?
Not the mastering, but
the mixing
was
had been done pre-pandemic.
Okay.
So today is the first day that we are all seeing each other in person. We're merging bubbles, but we haven't seen each other in
since
March.
Since
all of us
honestly, I
together.
think since we recorded. It's been crazy.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy.
So I'm so grateful to be all back together, and I'm so happy to finally let these songs get into the world.
Happy birthday.
So the big question is, you're about a week away from the release. What's going through your head right now?
What is going through my head?
I'm just excited.
Excited. Yeah.
I think it's been so encouraging, the feedback we got on the first couple singles. And again, I always say, sometimes being an artist feels like if a tree in a clearing falls and makes a sound, but no one's there to hear it. What, did it actually happen?
Yeah.
That's literally a metaphor that I use. And it's not we live for affirmation, but it's nice to have that sort of immediate response to something that at least for me, I'll say with some of the lyrics that I've written, it's so personal, and it's to have someone be like, oh wow, like I relate to that, I connect with that, I'm listening to that, or I want to review that, or I want to premiere that song on my, my blog, or my, we've gotten some really amazing response from the press immediately, and that has been so affirming, and so I'm so grateful for it, and I feel so validated by it, and I feel like that is like we have a lot of momentum and energy, and a lot of people like in our corner, like cheering for us and wanting this band to succeed, and just being surrounded by that is just so exciting. And I feel like nothing but just like excited about just like letting this strange child like run free and then like make the next thing. Because when you release something, you're making space for whatever's to come. And I think I'm very much ready for that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, during the pandemic, especially, it's a very depressing time in general. The world is up in flames and in a lot of different ways. But for us, like, I feel like, or for me personally, like getting to hear feedback and releasing the first few singles was such a light at the end of the tunnel, because, it's been so rough these past months, and finally, like, being able to like put some art into the world, and not only like do the art, because I feel like we all just have to do it, like it's what we love and what we want to do, but then hearing that piece and that affirmation, like Emma was saying, just was such a like happiness that I hadn't experienced in so long, because we haven't toured in over almost, I guess, probably a year now.
Oh, well.
Yeah.
Okay. And I assume in a perfect world, you would love to have like a album release show and all that, like be at a venue promoting all that fun stuff. Are you trying to do any like virtual show or anything like that
We're glad you asked.
We're so glad you asked. Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it's you.
Okay. The 29th, right? Yeah. Yeah. We haven't like said it to the world yet, so I was just like, quick, like we can play this, right?
I didn't mean to put you on the spot there, but
Friday, the 23rd, in the evening time,
the day of our release.
we will do a live stream from Club Hassim in Cambridge, and it'll be like the one live stream that we have done this entire time, and probably for a bit too. So if you want to see us perform live, this is the chance.
This is it.
Friday.
nice.
Yeah.
I was actually before you guys jumped on, I was actually watching your interview with Passim. You guys did an interview back in June, I want to say, maybe.
Oh yeah. Was that our live stream variety?
Yeah.
Something like that. I was just jumped on there and I was just like, I don't know what this is, but I'm gonna watch this for a little bit and just see what happens. And I was watching. You were doing like the four of you were talking, and I didn't get that deep into it. So.
It was like very specific. It was first.
Yeah. And what's Passim all about? What's kind of that? Like, I was trying to do a little bit of research on them, but what's that all about?
I got this one.
Okay.
Passim is a nonprofit organization in Cambridge, Massachusetts.
Okay.
And there are a lot of different hats. One of them is they are like, I feel like one of the oldest folk venues.
Passim is folk.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is the oldest in like the history of this country. Originally called Club 47. That is where like literally where Bob Dylan and Joan Baez got their start. And like Passim tends to be like the center of like it's like a home for a lot of New England artists. They like come together, they like people will play with each other at Passim. It's like a very organic, very folk, very familial, is that a word?
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Community.
Yeah, very supportive environment.
Matt Smith is the managing director, he books everything, and he creates, him and Abby and the whole crew there just create this beautiful space and are all about folk. That's Club. I worked there, so that was my job to talk about it.
Okay.
And also, they're like really pro artist, which is like really revolutionary when it comes to just like venues in general. Like they they compensate their artists fairly. They create grant funding opportunities for their artists. During the pandemic, they responded with like a whole relief fund to the artists that have played there. They are so artist first. And that is something like politically that is like a really incredible, like sort of underlying component of their mission statement that is lived and breathed. You feel so cared for there. And that is so special. And to that club specifically.
Yeah. You play and
that's really awesome that there are organizations and clubs out there that are really sticking up for the musicians in a time where like venues and stuff like that are closing by, because they also act as a venue as well, right? Yeah.
That's we're gonna know through their venue.
Just at a time where we're losing venues like crazy, you know, it's great to see that they're really have a community and they're really building and supporting each other, and so that's really exciting to hear. And so that show will be the day of the release. You don't have a specific time just yet?
I imagine it'll be at like 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Okay, perfect.
Somewhere around.
Somewhere.
It will definitely we'll post more details about it, definitely coming soon. So
Yeah.
stay tuned.
You know, Instagram, Facebook, a website, the whole 9 yards. RubyMackFolk.com. Yep. .com.
The
.gov,
website is
actually.
I wish.
RubyMackFolk on
That's
Instagram.
cursed.
We'll post the information so it's out in the universe.
Gotcha. You know, I struggle with a lot of my social media handles too, and it's mainly because my website is .net, because some bastard took the .com and I wasn't going to pay him $500 for the .com. I was just like, I'll pay the $10 for the .net. I'll be happy. So, but so where are you guys at kind of creatively right now that you've got the album ready to drop? You mentioned that you're like wanting to start creating new stuff. Are you guys always writing? Are you guys like, where are you guys kind of at creatively right now?
I would say Emma writes in her sleep.
I mean, I think the pandemic I'll just speak for myself. It was a time of like everything coming to a complete and utter stop. Like I lost all of my jobs. I lost basically everything. And I know that's the experience for a lot of people. And also I have a lot of privilege in that loss, I have to say. But through that time, I feel like I did a lot of writing and a lot of reflecting. And I mean, like we said, we haven't all been together. So there's like a lot of music that I've written that I'm looking forward to sharing with everybody. And I'm sure like others have had that experience as well. But I think that there's like, I think something that's really special about this group is like, there's sort of like a creative and like karmic and cosmic synergy between everybody in a way that like only lends itself to like exponential material. And I'm excited to see like what comes next. And because we can't be on the road right now, you know, it is, and we've made the decision to really, you know, be in the same space and see each other through the winter. I think that it will be a really exciting time for the incubation of future singles and sort of future larger recorded projects. So.
Yeah, I think that I probably owe this group and the music that we are about to create and have been creating together my sanity over these next, you know, coming months. That was definitely for me like part of the reason why I wanted to merge Bubbles. It's just like, you know, feels sacred to be creating with these folks, and I'm so excited to be making new things again.
Mm-hmm.
It's time and we're here for it.
Nice. How have you guys kind of been staying fresh and rehearsed during the pandemic while you guys have been separated? Have you guys been doing like Zoom rehearsals or, you know, anything like that?
We haven't, just because right when everything shut down, I literally remember our last rehearsal and I'm pretty sure we were working on like 3 new songs, like that, like just coming to be like that. We have some stuff, like some lyrics here, some melodies here. They're not like really songs yet, but I remember like I think it was like a few days before everything like completely shut down. And that was like, I don't know, we were done recording. So we're not in a space where we need to be rehearsing the songs that are already on the record.
Gotcha.
So yeah, we haven't really been rehearsing in that way. And we definitely, at least I felt like it was hard to really connect on Zoom in a way that I felt like genuine and that I could like actually show up and be like, all right, let's write a song. Like, I definitely wasn't feeling like I could be in that space. And now that we're like together, I'm like, okay, I don't want to do anything online. But yeah, I'm excited. I think in the winter, we're definitely going to be having the opportunity to play more and just, you know, be back together and be in a space that we can start working on those songs again that we've like been hearing snippets of from each other. So yeah, I think more is to come and we'll see what our rehearsal schedule can look like.
I feel like the like limit of our technology use like with each other as a band during the pandemic has just been like sending each other voice memos of things we've been working on and us so excited about it but not really being able to work on it all together. So now as of today that's kind of
starting to change.
Abs and I tried the like the Zoom writing session. But it's like not the same.
I'd imagine so.
I think something that's, I mean, I'm just speaking for myself. This is not a bad statement, but I think a hope that I have though is that, that we like emerging from the pandemic, obviously I know we're still in it, but that we try to reimagine and rebuild sort of like the expectations and infrastructure of the industry in a way that actually is healthier and sustainable. I think that like, because we exist within the capitalist system, it ends up like putting this like sort of like pressure to like be a machine to like create out just like something new. And actually there's so much to be gained in stasis and pause and stopping and not having to like crank out the next new single. And I hope that like we can rebuild something, like rebuild a better world, not just produce what was not working before anyway. And I think like I really hope that you know, now that like our country has proven that like they can pay people randomly $600 a week just like out of the blue, like no problem, that like there's some sort of like reconsideration of infrastructure for like really compensating, you know, artists and compensating like the creative community so that we're not like burning ourselves out. Because I'll say before the pandemic, I was about to drop the mic and just like I was fed up. I was so exhausted. Like it's so hard to work 5 jobs and also be in a creative life that's remotely competitive in a business context. So I just hope that we can, and by we, I mean like the big we, like better. We can do better. We can take care of like people better. We can do it. I believe it.
You know, I will say the Spotify like business model, like whatever you want to call it for the current music industry, I've seen drive so many musicians crazy because it feels like they have to continually be releasing music like almost on a weekly basis, or they just kind of fall off the Spotify spectrum. And I do wish, like, because I remember as a kid, every 2 years or so, my favorite band would come out with a new album. And it was one of those things where it's like, oh my God, you hear Metallica came out with a new album, you know, like just naming a band. You know, they just came out with a new album. Oh, great, let's go listen to it. And then like it was a big thing anytime somebody dropped new music. Now it's like, oh, they don't have a new song out. When was the last one they released? Oh, 2 weeks ago. Okay. You know, and it's just like this weird thing where it's like you're expected to just continually release music, like you'd mentioned, like machines almost, you know. And so it I don't know. Like I'm not a musician, so like I really don't have much room to speak on it, but just kind of seeing all my friends being pressured or feel like they're being pressured to continually just drop new music or new singles or whatever. So
Yeah, I
It
feel like
definitely
that's,
sucks the soul a bit.
yeah, absolutely. I feel like that's kind of how our, not just for music, but like how our society functions in general. Is just like keep grinding, keep going, don't take time to rest. Like you need to, you know, you need to be putting output, you need to be working, you need to be blah blah blah. And like I think that, yeah, that's one thing probably for many people in the pandemic that we've had to pause and reconsider and be like, you know, spend time with ourselves, spend time resting,
Mhm.
like ask ourselves what we actually need, and find that balance between, you know, output and input for ourselves.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's really interesting because a lot of times during these interviews, I'll ask people how they position themselves, how they feel about 2020, and 99% of the time, oh, it's 2020, let's cancel it. Let's just get to 2021. 2020 is just not a year we want to recognize. And it's like, but you're releasing this album you've been working on for the last year and a half. You really want to cancel the year you released it at, like, just like all this really like I try and point out all these positive notes, and they're like, uh, it's I'm trying to spread more positivity and like don't cancel the year that woke you up, essentially, because
Yeah.
that's what
Yes.
Yes.
100%.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that 2020 is, yeah, a huge, I hope, turning point for, you know,
The country,
the
the
country. Yeah. I think people are starting, exactly like you said, starting to wake up to a lot of the injustices that have been going on for that, like,
Centuries.
yeah, literally.
Yeah.
And it's just the pandemic has highlighted all of those and
Sure.
just kind of served them to us on a platter. And we're having to face it because we don't have any like busy work. We don't have like as much going on. We're seeing it in, you know, real time, and we have time to protest. We have time to think about it. We have time to consider the way it's affecting our lives and the lives of the people around us. So I do think that there's a lot of, you know, hope that comes from this year as well. And I don't think it's completely discounted because, yeah, like you said, people are waking up. So that's encouraging.
Absolutely. So, pandemic, you guys have had some extra free time. What have you guys been doing with your free time? What do you do when you're not playing music
What do
or
we?
working? To like,
Or not working
Or
and
not working.
not playing music.
It's funny because like I was gonna say the first thing that popped into my mind, like my free time has been spent taking mandolin lessons, which is also music. It's just kind of like what brings me joy and like what I love doing in my free time. So I've been taking some mandolin lessons. I have been reading a little bit more, which has been really nice. It's been a long time since I've read.
how do you like the mandolin? Like I've just recently started diving into like more bluegrass and more Americana and folk type stuff. And every year we go to a bluegrass festival down in the Keys, and I've seen some of the most amazing mandolin players ever. And before I started going to that, I was like, probably didn't even know what the mandolin was.
Yeah, it's been great. Yeah, it's nice for me because I obviously, like we talked about, grew up playing fiddle, and mandolin is the same strings as fiddle. So I kind of get to cheat with my knowledge bank of like, you know, my left hand, but it's learning the right hand and learning the like strumming patterns and all of that is completely new. And I've also been singing more like with myself playing, and it gave me such an appreciation for these three lovely people because I realized I was like, holy bleep, like they do that, they sing and strum and play every time we sing. And I'll sometimes sing with fiddle, but I largely don't have to do that. And it just, it gave me a whole new perspective on what my bandmates are doing. So
That's hilarious.
What else have we been doing?
I've been playing with my dog a lot. I went through my entire to-do list, which is like
That's
crazy.
amazing.
I can't.
Yeah.
It was actually scary. I'm a Virgo, and my to-do list is my life.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't even know. Just spending time with my family.
I have a fixer-upper, which is less of a fixer-upper now, thanks to the pandemic. But I was working a lot on my house and learning a lot of new things about all of that. And I had to like creatively respond to my finances very quickly. I got denied initially from unemployment because it was before they created pandemic insurance.
Yeah.
And so I was like, and I was teaching Zoom sing-alongs for babies and toddlers,
What?
which was hilarious.
They log on themselves and they're like,
Yeah.
username, baby.
And we do like pots and pans jam. So it was like just little kids being like, but like it was helping me pay my bills. I think for me, initially, I was still having to like figure out how to like make my whole financial world go around. But once I like figured out the unemployment situation, then I was able to I don't know, go on nice hikes and come out as gay and a bunch of other things that I've been sort of on my to-do list, you know?
But
Check.
amazing.
That's the best thing I've heard.
I think
This entire
also
pandemic.
like this might be like, I'm not sure if I'm projecting onto you right now, but I really feel like I've seen you learn how to rest
Oh yeah,
during this
like
pandemic.
rest,
Like
a lot of
Emma
rest.
is like go all the time, like, you know, working so much, working so many jobs, like to do, you know, music, what she loves. But I feel like all of us in different ways have learned to actually rest during this time. I'm like, you know, if I feel like taking a nap, I'll take a freaking nap. Like, or if I feel like I need something, I'm like, oh, I actually deserve to take this time to do that for myself before going and doing that thing I need to do. And in the long run, it like helps productivity to rest, because if you're just producing all of the time, then like you get burnt out and you don't want it. And if you rest, then you're like, okay, now it's time to do something.
And resting, again, like you may come to know that I'm a very political person, but resting is actually like a political choice in a capitalist society. Like I am taking a nap.
Yep.
Like take that nap. Take that.
I am not making money right now. Ooh, napping.
As someone who's never struggled with being told I need to rest, I don't know. Like the pandemic has been weird for me. I think like it's made me like realize what I really enjoy doing, because like everyone's like, well, what are you doing? And I'm like, I don't know. I'm just living. I'm just existing. Like, and I think before the pandemic, I'm always someone who's like, okay, screw it. I don't want to do this. Like I'm out, or like, I am going to go take a nap, like peace.
Yeah, you are good.
But like with the pandemic, it was kind of more like, okay, well, now that my only option is to take a nap, like I don't want to do that anymore.
Yeah.
So I think for me, it like challenged me to like set more of a routine of like what makes me feel good on like my day-to-day life, and like how do I not rest too much? Because I think that for me, like it's easier for me to just like when I'm not feeling good, or like I'm like, you know, Emma is more of like a run, and I'm more of a like lay down.
Yeah. I got you.
So yeah, it's definitely been interesting. I have been doing a lot of yoga throughout the pandemic. I recently in June finished a training to be a yoga instructor. Okay. So I've been doing a lot of yoga, and recently I've actually started teaching a yoga class to 12-year-old boys, which is very hilarious. I nanny as my job, so I like teach yoga now, and it's really, really funny, guys. I have some great stories. But yeah, so I guess I've had the opposite challenge as them in that way.
Awesome. You know, it's funny because I was thinking as I asked that, or as Emma, as you were talking, I realized I've gotten less sleep during the pandemic, because they've got me working from home. So it's a lot easier for me to lose track of time and just kind of be working. Like I remember there was a couple of times where my boss logged on to Slack at like 3 a.m. and was like, hey, why are you still up working? You need to go to bed. Like, it's like, but I'm making headway. I'm almost done with this. And they're like, yeah, but go to bed. Like, seriously. And then, so I'll log off of Slack and then I'll stay up for another 2 hours working on something completely different. So, yeah, I've had the exact opposite of all of you, where I get less sleep. So,
like a coping thing too, right? We don't need to do therapy, but I mean, like, that's probably like a way that that propelled you through the pandemic.
Yeah.
We all cope in different ways.
yeah, that's
So much ice cream. It was amazing.
Me too.
So much. About
Sorry.
a pint sometimes a night, but like every 2 days.
I wish I had
Imagine this, fill up the bath with like scalding hot water.
Your dream.
You have your glorious thick pint of Ben & Jerry's cookie dough or cookies and cream or chocolate espresso cookie. And you just lie back and you're in your bathtub and you've set up your little stool right next to the bathtub and who you have on but cover girl, put that bass in your what? I felt like my mother in that moment. That was really weird. Sometimes I feel like I realize that I'm coming on 30.
Wait,
RuPaul's Drag Race,
RuPaul.
baby.
I ate so much ice cream early on during the pandemic. I had to switch over to the Target brand ice cream
Oh, how was it?
because I ate so much of it that it was getting really expensive.
yeah.
So, it was just like, okay, I'm eating cookie dough ice cream as it is. So I'm going to just get the $2 quart or whatever it is. And I'm not really going to notice the difference.
I got to the next level that I bought a roll of cookie dough, Chips Ahoy cookie dough, and a ice cream. And I was like, ow, ow, ow.
I love that for you.
Yeehaw, is right.
Yeehaw.
You needed that.
Giddy up.
That's funny. That's so amazing. I love it.
I am
So
hungry right now. After all this talk of ice cream, I am literally drooling.
Good.
You haven't.
so Abs, I have a specific.
Ben, Jerry, can you hear us? We're only 20 miles from the border.
Oh my God. Yes.
Yeah, I can't afford Ben & Jerry's anymore, so I had to put them away.
Well, I found the secret though, because the 24-hour CVS around the corner from my house always has 2-for-1 deal.
Okay.
Not always, but almost always in the Ben & Jerry's department.
So
or
check out your
In the
Haagen-Dazs
Ben
in
and Jerry's
America.
department.
Yeah.
Ben & Jerry's is so important they have their own department.
We actually have Ben & Jerry out back right now. They're churning the milk.
They're churning.
No, it wasn't.
You mean
now it
milking the
is.
They're
cow.
milking the cow.
Okay.
That's what I meant. I put at least an inch of butter on my toast now. It just
Pandemic.
I'm allergic.
Pandemic, you only live once, right?
exactly.
Just go for it. Just go for it.
He has a saying which he calls YOLOA, which is actually you only live over and over again. It really depends on what your background
love
of
that.
philosophy is.
loving
I'm more of a
that.
YOLOA gal
Yeah.
and less of a YOLO gal, but I
Yeah.
still YOLO hard on that pint.
Yes.
And that's where we learned our existential dread from a very young age.
Yes. One day you will be the fly in the jar.
So anyway.
Oh, so anyone listening right now, you can find us at 22 News. Take it away.
Thank you for that microphone, Emma. Nice to see everyone. You can find us at rubymackfolk.com. You can also find us at rubymackfolk on Instagram, and you can find us at Ruby Mack on Facebook.
And Zoe, how is Mac spelled?
You spell Mac with a K. M-A-C-K, Mac.
Because there are 4 of us.
There's 4 of us, 4 letters.
M,
Ruby, Mac,
A.
Folk. They all have 4 letters. Crazy how that works. So yeah, rubymackfolk.com. We'll see you there.
Awesome. So right before we end it, I have one question for Abs specifically, because you are the resident fiddle player.
I am.
They are.
So I have been trying to find a left-handed fiddle so I can learn how to play,
Lefty.
because I don't have the dexterity in my left hand to play a right-handed fiddle.
You just put it on your other shoulder.
And restring it the other way.
Yeah, you can restring it. That's what Elizabeth Cotton, who is an amazing old time Black folk artist, she
Okay.
and she played guitar. She restrung her guitar like with the opposite strings and
Okay.
left-handed. So I bet you can do the same thing with the fiddle.
Okay. Because I brought that up to one of my buddies. He's like, that sounds like the stupidest idea I've ever heard.
It doesn't really exist, but you can make it.
Privilege.
Start it.
Elizabeth Cotton shouts out like has done it.
That sounds better than my original idea of learning how to play the fiddle backwards.
Yeah, don't
People
do-
also
don't-
do that.
I don't
so.
know. That sounds.
I
But
can't.
that
Sounds hard.
See, that sounds to me. I'm gonna be like your friend. That's a dumb idea. Just switch the chord. Just switch the thing.
But okay, I will do that. I was trying to work the math through my head to see if I could string it backwards, but I will do that because
maybe
I could.
First,
I'm
because-
sure YouTube has a tutorial.
Yeah,
on it.
someone
Hey,
has
where we
probably
are
done
now.
it, but that's what I would suggest. It's been done.
Okay, perfect. Because my job, out of pure curiosity, for some reason, they bought us all subscriptions to Masterclass
Shut up. That's
and
so.
for 1 year. So I've got like 4 months left, I want to say.
You still got 4 months.
Do the fiddle.
Yep.
Do the.
Heck yeah.
So I'm going to go find my fiddle. And luckily, the pawn shop, they've got a bunch of them.
I don't know.
Okay.
You play guitar. You said too.
What's that?
You play guitar.
No, I don't.
No. Anyway, if
Okay.
you want to play guitar, Annie Clark has a master class that I really want to. It's Annie Clark who is St. Vincent, right? I think. I know it's Annie. Yeah. Anyway, you should check that one out.
Okay. I sent the login information to my buddy who plays the guitar because I think Carlos Santana has a master class on there.
So
We love
just so you know, next time in 4 months, you're going to be on our show and we'll be interviewing you about
Yeah.
how you shred lefty violin.
Yeah, that's like a whole brand. I love that.
Yeah.
For you.
Awesome. Well, because it's funny, I asked somebody else that played violin why it's so hard to find a left-handed violin, and they're like, well, it has to do with us being aesthetically pleasing as part of an orchestra.
Oh.
I think that's actually true. I used to play in an orchestra. And I feel like I have heard that before. It's like somewhere in the very depths of my memory.
Or there's also like weird oh my god, my brain.
Catholic?
Catholic. I was like Catholic undertones around like lefties, like
being
you've been touched by
right-handed,
the
yeah.
devil. So like
Classic.
devil told
Devil
me.
told me.
Nice segue. That was the perfect
And that's a wrap, boy.
segue. And so where could everybody find you again online? All that fun stuff.
Find us at RubyMackFolk.com. They can find us at RubyMackFolk on Instagram, and they can find us actually on Twitter as well and on Facebook at RubyMack.
And everyone, how do we spell Mac?
M-A-C.
M-A-C.
I hated and loved
She's
that.
a theater teacher, so
Actually,
Well, it's funny that you spell it out like that because that's how I thought it was always spelled. And then my buddy from when I was growing up as a kid, he spelled it M-A-C because his full name's Mackenzie.
Yeah.
And so it was M-A-C. And I was like, no, I thought it was M-A-C-K. And then,
yeah,
You're
you're correct.
you're right.
The left-handed fiddle player said so,
Yeah.
so that's T.
And he is a prodigy.
He knows.
He knows it.
yeah, I hope I'm good. Like, I hope I can at least not embarrass myself.
No,
'Cause-
it's a whole process. It's a journey, but it'll be a fun journey. So that's
Also, you can't embarrass yourself if you're like just proud and having fun
and also like there's probably like way fewer people to compare yourself to as a left-handed fiddle player. So no
Right.
matter how bad you are, you'll probably still be the best.
It's funny though, because the only reason I want to learn how to play fiddle is so me and my the other guys in Live and Amplified can write one bluegrass song
Yeah.
called Bugatti in a Bait Shop. And it's about no matter how much money you have, you still got to enjoy the little things.
Hell
yeah.
yeah.
So, and it's inspired by a true story. We were down in the Keys and we drove past a bait shop and there was a Bugatti sitting in the parking lot of just like a rinky dink small town bait shop. So,
There you go.
Love it.
Love-
but once again, I want to thank you guys so much for jumping on the podcast. I really appreciate that.
Thanks
So-
for having us.
I just wanted to say, after following the all right, I just wanted to say I wish you all the luck with the left-handed fiddle. I think you'll do awesome.
Thank you. I will keep you guys updated. I will let you know. I'm going to go to the pawn shop on my next paycheck, which is Friday. And
Oh, the day our album comes out, you mean? Oh my God. Great
on
day.
on the 23rd.
Woo. Awesome.
So,
Thank you
but
so much for having us. And
absolutely.
stay safe, stay radical.
What
And
were
vote.
you going to say?
I was going to say, thanks again. Thanks you, everybody.